today's episode, we're discussing an issue that is very close to Phila and my heart as well, that of financial literacy. I already know he can't wait to get started. So, hey Phila, how are you doing today, sir?
Well, man, I think you've captured it very well. Very excited about this conversation, and it is very, very close to my heart. And we've got a very interesting guest, which
Of
I'm very
course.
excited about, but I don't want to go on for far longer than I need to. I think, yeah, you can just go ahead and introduce our guest.
Sure thing. We'll be taking a look at our country's financial literacy statistics today. And of course, we will not be doing this alone. Joining us is one Mr. Lyndwille Clarke. He's the head of consumer education at the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. Good day, Mr. Clarke. How are you doing today?
I'm well, guys. Hi, Simo. Hi, Phila. I'm well today. It's a little bit cold, but I think we'll get through this cold snap as soon as the sun comes out again in, let's hope, in December. You should be able to join. You should be able to enjoy the beach again, Simo.
For sure. Now, Mr. Clarke, you're not our first guest from the FSCA. We've had the pleasure of having the commissioner, Mr. Unathi Kamlana, on the show. And one of the notable parts of our discussion with him was the program of treating consumers fairly. And I guess an extension of that, which is the drive for consumer financial literacy. And I would assume that that is where you come in, sir. So perhaps could you explain what your role within the FSCA entails as the head of consumer education?
Yeah, thanks, and thanks again for having Unathi on the show. It is always good from a strategic point of view to see what the organization stands for, and it's always good to hear from the head of the organization because I think that is the real face of it. But I think that the actual face is the consumers and the consumer education department at the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. So I'm head of the consumer education department, and we are the department that actually interacts with consumers, interact in a way where we try to disseminate information regarding financial matters. We try as far as possible to interpret the legislation and the regulations that is applicable to consumers. Because in the past, the Financial Services Board, the predecessor to the FSCA, used to be a regulatory focused organization looking more at the industry. And with the new FSR Act that now promotes a consumer or a customer-centric approach, we've now looked more at how do we actually take the needs of the consumer into account when we draft legislation, when we draft regulations. And then our department, the role that we play is then to go out there and interpret to the consumers what it is their responsibilities are, but also what their rights are. Because I think it's quite important when dealing with financial services providers that you as the consumer, because we don't have that information sometimes, that you actually empower yourself with the knowledge and information so that you ask the right questions. And that secondly, you're sure that you're dealing with an authorized financial services provider.